What's up, everybody? It's Aaron Duncan here, back again with another Panthers video, man. And we just finished losing to the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. It was America's Game of the Week on Fox, and it's a weird spot to be in. You know, I always hate making these losing videos, especially at games like this. It always seems like when the Panthers lose, it's almost like a gut punch. But in this video, I want to give you my 3 biggest takeaways, and you guys make sure you stick around to the end because I got some other stuff I need to get off my chest at the end, but you guys got to make sure you stay tuned to the end, guys, and look at that. I'm sure you're going to want to hear that. But I'm Aaron Duncan here at the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, and I start off every video by saying, what up, dude? This is a Necessary Bluntness, the channel where I might not tell you what you want to hear, but I'm definitely going to tell you what you need to hear, and I give recap and analysis of the Carolina Panthers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any videos too. So matter of fact, while you're at it, go ahead hit the like button, give it a thumbs up, you already know. Show some love, you know what I'm saying? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the game, you know what I'm saying? What are you feeling about this team so far? I know we fell to 5-4. Still in the playoff hunt per se, but let me know how you're feeling about the team thus far. So my first big takeaway is about Kyle Allen, and just basically that he definitely showed some progress in this game, but still showed that he has a long way to go. So I've been saying all season, I want to make sure before we crown this guy like you guys want to as the savior of the franchise going forward and the future quarterback, let's see him in some different scenarios. We saw him in a scenario where we weren't having the lead and the defense wasn't playing that good against San Fran, and he kind of fell flat on his face. But this game was a little bit closer, it was a little bit in range. Yes, we were down. However, I wanted to see how he would react being in this different scenario and see if he could pass the test. So to me, this kind of had much of a playoff feel because when you're playing a good quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, every play counts, and every time you're on offense, you have to score points and get touchdowns, not field goals, because we already know, we've seen Aaron Rodgers time and time again, whether it's a minute left or 10 seconds left, if there's a possibility that they can get a touchdown, he's going to go for it, and he's come through time and time again. So this is going to be a scenario where every play was going to count. So I was very disappointed, though, about the mistakes that Kyle made in that scenario, because we came out cooking when we went up 7-0 in that drive where we took the lead in the opening of the game, and then at one point the score was 10-7. We had the defense, as bad as they had played for most of the game later in the game, they did get a 3-and-out, and the Packers punted. We got a good return, had the ball at midfield. This is about the second quarter, and of course, 2 plays later, Kyle does what he's been doing a lot this season, and he fumbled a snap. Of all things, not necessarily even being stripped by somebody. He simply just fumbled a snap. And to me, when I saw his face early in the game when they showed it, he kind of looked like he had the elements were kind of getting to him at first, and it was going to take a while for him to settle in. Yes, later on in the game, he kind of just figured out like, okay, it's cold. It's not going to get any warmer. You got to play through it. And I just feel like the elements kind of got to him on that. I don't know if it was he was pulling out too early, the ball was too stiff and hard because it was cold. I don't know, but that's just something that's fundamental. That's basic one-on-one football, and yeah, that can't happen. You know what I'm saying? That can't happen in this type of game. You have these guys on the ropes with a chance to go ahead and put a touchdown or even a field goal on the game, and end up turning the ball over. They go down and do what they do and capitalize off that mistake, and you relinquish all control you had in that game. Not to mention, the defense just gave up a 3-and-out, and you put them right back on the field. I know they were playing pretty tough early on in the game, but let's say you save their energy, you give them a break and put a long drive together. Maybe they're a little bit fresher in the second half, and they can actually stop the run. I'll talk about the defensive struggles a little bit later, but maybe if you put an offensive drive together there, give them a bigger lead, they have a little bit more enthusiasm instead of coming up feeling like they just got off the field, and they have a little bit more energy and a little bit more perked up. The more times you can keep the ball out of the hands of Aaron Rodgers, the better. So giving him a free shot at midfield, it's not something you want to do. You want to be able to take advantage in that scenario. So I was disappointed about that. Also, the costly red zone interception by Kyle Allen. He'll learn that, and he needs to learn that when you're in the red zone, you have to get some points. You cannot turn the ball over. I know we've seen Cam Newton, he's been pretty solid in the red zone for most of his career, and he has that threat of running and throwing, so that's kind of what opens things up. But Kyle's got to understand that you don't have to get everything in one place. It's a second down. This is the third quarter. You know, the Packers came out and scored on their opening drive in the second half, so the team's down 21-10. It's a big time. We need to answer, and we're in range to answer. I know he didn't have a lot of time to pass most of the day, but he scrambled to step up in the pocket and just forced the ball. According to Troy Aikman on TV, he just didn't see the safety, but to me, he could have ran, got 5 yards. It's only second down. We're living to fight third and medium after that. And so for them to throw an interception and for us to be down 21-10 and for them to go down the field after that and get a field goal to put us down 2 touchdowns really, really hurt. It can be disheartening for a defense when you feel like you're constantly having to carry the weight of the team for the most part because our defense has really faltered over the past few weeks. So it's been tough, you know what I'm saying? So we have to find a way to win games differently. We can't just rely on the defense and Christian McCaffrey to carry the team all season. I wanted to see Kyle step up and really take advantage. Worst case scenario, throw the ball away. You lose to fight another down. Worst case scenario, you get a field goal out of that scenario, even with the elements. So I was very disappointed in those, but I will have to say, he did show heart down the stretch in that final drive. The first drive, I guess, to score the touchdown to get us to within one score. And then the last drive of the game, obviously, where he drove us down to the field and put us in a position to win the game. However, he did show some moxie, some escapability. He showed a lot more escapability than he showed all season with spin moves and running around a little bit. But like I said, I want to see him make a little bit more better decisions when it comes to actually having to use his legs, when to throw away, when to get out of the pocket, when to sit in the pocket. I'm still a little bit skeptical because he keeps underthrowing these deep balls. A couple times Curtis Samuel got behind the defense, which is going to do a lot to a lot of guys in the league because he's lightning quick. But he underthrows these guys. He's done it to DJ a few times. I've said in my other videos that he always underthrows a deep ball. I don't know. Usually around the mid-range, the 15-yard range, he's very, very good. But when it comes to those deep balls, he's a little bit struggling. But that last drive, he completed some balls and he made some tough decisions too. The drive really could have been ended if Jair Alexander had caught that pick at the beginning, probably the second or third play of the drive on the sideline. And then there was another opportunity where a guy Joe the interception too, where he could have got it too. But then again, you see him throw those clutch passes like he does to Jarius Wright on the deep crossing route, or he throws clutch corner route. That was a perfect ball to Greg Olsen on that sideline. So you see those moments like that where he's like, dang, this guy can really put the ball where he wants to. But then he underthrows, or he makes bad decisions where he scrambles out the pocket and almost throws a pick six that would have ended the game. But you give and take with Kyle Allen. Of course, he's young, of course, but I still want to see the decision making get better and the pocket presence gets better, because sometimes he sits in the pocket when he should get out, and sometimes he gets out too early when he should sit in. So maybe that'll come with more experience. I don't know, but we'll see. My second biggest takeaway is, I don't know if it's just me, but I got a feeling that teams is really starting to figure out our defense. Now, we could talk about the run defense all day, but to me, I think it's more of the players more than the scheme. However, we came in the season talking about we were going to do this 3-4 multiple defense, but it seems like we've been leaning a lot more on the 4-3 a lot lately, going to what we were used to, and we've been getting gashed like we used to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, I know we got rid of Thomas Davis, so we've kind of been short a linebacker. We haven't really been confident in Andre Carter coming on the field, but we've been using Eric Reed as an extra linebacker. However, this wasn't the game where we could do that. And for some of our guys, for the personnel that we have, this is really inexcusable for us to give up an average of 133 yards per game. And this has been happening over the course of the past 2 seasons. Like I said, gap integrity is huge. And gap integrity is when you run those zone blockings, you're responsible for a gap. You stay in your gap and don't get out of it. If you do your job and everybody's in position, somebody will be there to make plays. If not, you see those big cutback runs by Aaron Jones or the backup running back Williams, and stuff like that gets happening. Once you start getting gashed, you start getting big plays. And what really alarmed me was what Troy Aikman said, that we've given up more runs of 10+ yards than anybody in the NFL, which is really unheard of with the amount of guys that we've had. And for Luke Kuechly and Shaq Thompson to only have 4 tackles and our defensive backs to really lead the team in tackles, that's a bad thing. That means they're getting to the second level and our safeties and corners are having to make plays, because Donte Jackson has 6 tackles himself. So that's really a bad sign to me when it comes to that. But like I said, I think other things play into that factor last night. Like I said, when the offense, you just get off the field after forcing a 3 and out, but 2 plays later, they put you right back on the field. You're tired. Recording against Aaron Rodgers is enough. But when you get out there and you're fatigued, not to mention the snow's coming down and you're trying to stand your ground and not get blocked, but the ground is icy, so you're slipping and sliding, you feel like you can't even defend yourself. You start getting pushed around and leaned on a little bit later on in the game with the Packers offensive line, and them being used to those conditions and us not being able to. I think it took a factor as the game continued to go along, because like I said early on, we were getting pretty decent stops. Yeah, we were giving up some plays, but it just seemed like after a while, every run they got seemed to get 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 yards, and we just couldn't tackle Aaron Jones at all. You know what I'm saying? And they just kept coming at us because they knew it would break. As far as the pass defense, James Bradyberry has been hurt, but I feel like teams really know how to attack us. I know Bradyberry was hurt, and the thing about it is our corners are just so give and take. You have Donte Jackson on one side who can't help but look in the backfield and loses track of the receiver. Then you have James Bradyberry, who always looks at the receiver and never looks back, and sometimes he can get some pass interference calls. So you have the pretty much complete extreme on one side or the other. One guy doesn't look back, one guy can't take his eyes off looking forward, and it just makes you want to scream sometimes because Donte continues to let guys get past him and get behind him. And I don't know, he plays with a lot more confidence. And the thing about Donte is he's a gambler. He looks in the backfield. That's how he's able to make a lot of interceptions when he does get them, because he sees those plays coming. But at the same time, he gets his hand caught in the cookie jar, and guys get behind him like they did a couple times last night, and he gets beat. Especially like on the 2nd and 26, which is a backbreaker, especially when you have a team backed up. And those type of things will get you beat. 2nd and 26, you give up 30. That cannot happen, period. Especially if you want to beat a guy like number 12, Aaron Rodgers on the other side. But like I said, overall, I feel like people are starting to figure us out. Misdirection in the run game and running that zone at us. Guys they're very aggressive and they get out of position, and that happens. Pass-wise, they know that if you can get a little bit of time, go deep across the middle or even go on the outside, you can take a chance on our corners because they're not great when the ball's in the air all the time, or you can run certain routes and double moves that'll get guys to get open because we're overly aggressive, which can pay off sometimes, but at the same time, if that pass rush isn't getting there, it can make or break you. The third and final takeaway I had from last night is that injuries are really starting to finally take a toll now. Whether it's the offensive line and the tackle position that just seems to be cursed for our franchise. Whoever's playing left tackle cannot stay healthy. Whether it's Michael Orr, Khalil, Dennis Daly, Greg Little, whatever. These guys just keep getting hurt and we keep shuffling around. Last night we had to put Moe in that left tackle, Darrell Williams at right tackle. The pass pro was horrible for that last drive. No wonder Kyle Allen had to show his escapability because the pressure was coming, man. And I guess he kind of figured out and knew it was coming, so he had to kind of just deal with it. But it is what it is there. They're good at run blocking regardless, just because I like the scheme we run and we have a good running back. But in pass pro, we've been lacking there for years. Or it could be our pass rushers. You know what I'm saying? The pass rush really seemed non-existent at times last night, but I know the service was a little bit slower. But Brian Burns, ever since his wrist surgery, he hasn't really done squat. You know what I'm saying? I know it's hard to play pass rush with their hands, so I'm really sad for him because it all started with him just punching the ground in Houston after he had a good game. You know what I'm saying? So him being able to play with their wrist is really making him hesitant, and he's kind of really conservative out there and hasn't been the same aggressive guy that he was early on in the season when we thought he was going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. Not to mention, Christian Miller's been hurt for the past few weeks. He hasn't really got to get in there too. So you can really tell the difference in this old pass rushing front that we have. And it seems like last year where we really couldn't get home, and it really exposed our secondary for the most part. Yeah, we can get some pressure every now and then, but a guy gets Aaron Rodgers that can buy time. It's tough to get there when you don't have the speed that we normally do out there we've had all season. So, and of course, obviously James Bradyberry, that took a toll. I do like Ross Cockrell. He's one of the most technically sound guys out there. He pretty much does stuff by the book. He plays hard. He did give up a long play, but Devante Adams is a good receiver. He was in pretty good position. It just happens sometimes, but I do like Ross as depth. But at the same time, I'd rather him play the nickel than having him on the outside. We needed Bradbury last night, especially with a big-time receiver like Devante Adams on the outside. It's tough. And it's tough, and it's really starting to be noticeable, and hopefully we can get healthy soon, especially the left tackle. I think Greg Little will be back, but at the same time, it's hard. It's hard, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, especially up front when we need the offensive line to be good because we have a young quarterback. So the injuries are really taking its toll. So just some other things I noticed about the game that I wanted to talk about here at the end, man. And you know I hate to do this, guys, and you know me, I don't like to really blame the refs a ton because, one, there's a lot of plays in a football game, you know what I'm saying? So one or two plays here or there really can't really decide the game when the refs really do it. And I really don't want to come off as a whiny Saints fan, but I got to do it today. I got to do my best Saints fan impersonation and complain about these refs because these guys are garbage. You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody on the radio show talk about the BBR, the Brady, Breeze, and Rodgers rule, where if you sniff or sneeze on these quarterbacks, there's a flag coming, and they invented that rule just for them. Gerald McCoy putting great pressure on the Packers after we had them backed up, and they call a BS roughing the passer when clearly these two guys landed beside each other on the same time. They said that Gerald McCoy put his whole weight on him, but if you watch the replay, you can see Gerald McCoy and Aaron Rodgers' shoulder both hit the ground at the same time. So how can you put your full weight on somebody if both of you guys are landing pretty much in the same position right beside each other on the ground? Tell me that. Not to mention, that's not even the only thing that they blew. The BS field goal thing, you know what I'm saying, legal formation, where after they missed it, they gave them a second chance to hit it from 5 yards closer. And to be honest, he almost missed the second one. Had it been 5 yards back before, I mean, just redid the down. He probably would have missed that one too, but it was 5 yards short, so it snuck in the goalpost, and they're really grinding my gears. Not to mention one that people are forgetting about, but what about Kyle Allen getting blatantly face masked? But apparently the referee could see the guy that face masked him getting held, but they couldn't see that same guy that got held face mask our quarterback. How does that work out? You know what I'm saying? And it's just little stuff like that that pisses you off about these refs. And of course, you can send your information and say stuff to the NFL, but they're not going to do anything. You know what I'm saying? They can't redo the game. We got to move on. There's really nothing we could do. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks because like in a game like that that's so close, you're on the road, everything else is already up against us. We don't need help burying ourselves. We make enough mistakes to do that. So for the refs to come in and just pile it on, it really pisses me off so much more. And it is what it is. But I say that's my little moment of being a Saints fan, a whiny Saints fan. You know what I'm saying? Complaining about the refs. It is what it is at this point, man. I wasn't really banking on winning against the Packers. I thought that if we won that game, it would have been like, oh dang, we stole that game. All right, cool. We really are contending. But it really let me know that as bad as we played, we could still contend with some contenders. You know what I'm saying? We played bad against San Fran, and that was just horrible. And we got blown out. But against the Packers, against a better quarterback in my opinion, not as good a defense compared to the 49ers, we held our own. You know what I'm saying? We kept, despite the mistakes and us giving the control of the game, after say with that Kyle Allen fumble, we still hung in there and had a chance to win. The 1 yard line is just frustrating to see us keep losing these games, either at the 1 yard line or by one possession or less. You know what I'm saying? People want to talk about Cam being 0-8, but they don't realize that 6 of those games were decided by 7 points or less. And a lot of times, like Detroit, where we had a chance at the yard line to go in and take the win on the extra point, Cam just missed the pass. Or the Redskins, we were inside the 15-yard line. We just got a missed pass to Jerry's right. So a lot of these games are close, guys. We're being competitive. Besides the 49ers or the Pittsburgh Steelers game, we haven't really got blown out by anybody like that in some time like that. So like to be competitive and be in the game, it says a lot because the NFL is not easy. You know what I'm saying? We could be getting killed like some of these other teams, but we're still in the mix. Still got a lot to play for. Just got to get healthy, guys, and we just got to keep pounding. So you guys let me know down below in the comments, you know what I'm saying, what you think about the game. What do you think about the team going forward, man? But I'm Aaron Duncan signing off with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you next time.